What's up, diggity dogs?
You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another video game-related review. A little while ago, I reviewed UnderTale on this channel, and I've recently been playing the Genocide run. Now, I haven't actually completed it, but I have gotten to the final battle, which is Sans. So I'm going to talk about why, in my opinion, the Genocide route is actually the best route in UnderTale. I have also seen the ending, so although I haven't completed the final boss battle, I have seen it, and I do still intend to complete the final boss battle as well. It's pretty difficult. But I have seen people stream through the actual Genocide route in entirety, so I am familiar with the actual ending too. As you can imagine, this is going to be filled with spoilers for UnderTale, so you have been warned if you haven't played the game. So without further ado, let's jump into this thing. So, to start off with, let's kind of explain what the Genocide route is, in case you're maybe unfamiliar with what that is in UnderTale. So, UnderTale is an RPG, obviously, so there are multiple ways to play the game, multiple endings, you know, the good ending, the bad ending, and the neutral ending. Well, the Genocide route is the bad ending. So, to get the Genocide route, you actually have to actively grind and kill enemies in every single location. Typically, when you're walking through the game, you'll get random encounters, and, you know, if you're doing pacifist, you'll want to spare the enemies that you're going against. But on Genocide, you don't want to do that. But also on Genocide, you can't just rely on these random encounters. If you do that, you're going to get what's referred to as a no-mercy run, which just basically is where you kill everything you encounter. The key difference between a Genocide run and a no-mercy run is a Genocide run, you have to actively walk around in the rooms you've already been in to grind those encounters so that you can kill every single enemy in every single area. There's also a few other unique requirements, such as in Snowden Town, which is the first area after you leave the ruins. You have to kill some specific enemies, specifically Snowdrake and Lesser Dog, before you drain the kill count. Those are unique, and they're the only enemies that do that. In Hotland, it's actually considered the same area as Core, so you don't actually have to kill any enemies in Core. In fact, in my first time playing Genocide, I didn't think there were enemies in Core because I did all the grinding in Hotland. But turns out you can actually do it in Core and Hotland. They're both considered the same area. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. For the most part, the Genocide route does play a lot easier for a lot of the enemies you encounter. Most things you're going to kill in 1 to 2 hits. There's a few exceptions, obviously, such as Jerry, who takes a lot to kill, although I've actually heard you can spare Jerry on the Genocide route even and get away with it, but I personally wouldn't even risk it myself. So I killed every Jerry that I encountered, so that was still kind of a pain in the ass because he is a bullet sponge. But that said, he doesn't attack you, so it's actually really easy. The Genocide route, in addition to killing everything, has a completely different tone than the other routes. So everything is a lot more melancholic and just kind of dark and empty. So it's a completely unique experience. It has unique boss battles and unique encounters and unique dialogue. So it's a very different run than a neutral or pacifist run, that's for certain. Now, before I get into why this is such a good route, I'm going to mention the few areas where I actually do think it could have used some improvement. I'm going to cut some slack since this game was made independently, predominantly by one guy in one application, so that's fair. But I do think that there is some things that definitely could have been improved on, such as Mettaton Neo. Mettaton Neo was probably the most disappointing thing for me about the Genocide route. Mettaton Neo is a form of Mettaton, who's a character you encounter in every run, but in Neutral and Pacifist, you typically fight his form Mettaton EX. Well, Mettaton Neo is an exclusive form that is only in the Genocide run, and it's built up to be really cool, because he talks about how this is his true form that was built to eradicate humans. And then you enter the battle, and you kill him in one fucking hit, and that's it. He doesn't even attack you if you try to drag out the battle by wasting turns by checking or healing. He just stands there and does nothing, and then you just kill him instantly. Another thing is I think they should have done more with the Soulless run. Don't know what a Soulless run? A Soulless run is where you have completed Genocide, and then you go back and do a pacifist ending, in which case you will get the Soulless ending. Now, the only real difference to the Soulless ending is they added in a couple of different visual changes. So in the one where you stay with Toriel in Pacifist, they added in the visual that you wake up with red eyes and it's Kara. I'll get a little bit more into Kara and stuff like that as I'm going on, but that's it. They just changed that. And then when you do I Have Places to Go in the Pacifist ending, they just crossed out all the faces in the picture, and in the middle, instead of Frisk standing there, again, it's Kara. Again, that's pretty cool. That kind of implies in the Soulless run you unleash Kara on the world. So that's a bad ending, obviously. So it's impossible to get a truly happy ending again after you do the Genocide run, because the game will remember you did a Genocide run unless you completely erase the save data from your console or PC. And you can't do that in-game. You have to delete it from the hard drive. Because in-game, the only way to go back is a reset. And a reset will not get rid of the genocide consequences. I think it would have been really cool had they actually done the reflection change on Waterfall, where you have Kara in your reflection. Because that's a thing that's in the game, it just doesn't happen. You can, using debug mode, you can activate that. I think it's a little bit disappointing that it wasn't implemented. I think they should have done that. I think they should have kept the genocide music throughout when you're going through a Soulless Pacifist run. From what I understand, they only changed maybe some of the music, and even then, I haven't done it yet, so I haven't actually experienced it in full. But from what I understand, primarily the only thing that's really changed is the ending. So, if they'd have done more with that, that would have been cool. Again, I understand that would have taken a lot more time and effort, so I get it. And the game already has quite a bit of content for such a short, independent game anyway. So again, I get it, but it is still a little bit disappointing that they didn't do that much more. They literally just changed the very ending, and Mettaton Neo was a massive disappointment. Now, let's get to the positives on why I like this run so much. So number one, I'll just go in order of kind of how it happens, and I'll get to my best one as I go on. But number one, the tone is completely and totally different. The tone is very dark, depressing, kind of spooky. Everything just feels kind of empty and depressing and sad. The happy, upbeat soundtrack that you get on the other runs just isn't a thing anymore. Many of the areas will be evacuated and there won't be characters there anymore and you won't interact with them anymore. A lot of the dialogue that was previously there is just gone. The few characters that do stick around will typically despise you. So, for instance, there are 3 shopkeepers that stick around in the Genocide run, those being Gerson, Temmie, and Burger Pants. Now, Temmie, they changed absolutely none of her dialogue, but they did remove the option to buy Temmie armor or pay for her college. With Gerson, they added in a thing where you can threaten him, try to fight him, and talk about the evacuation and things like that, to which he will, of course, speak to you with contempt, but he's still willing to sell you items. His tone will be a lot more aggressive, where he'll say, you know, don't expect a discount, and when you leave, he'll say, good riddance. So, he obviously doesn't view you in a positive light. Burger Pants just kind of thinks you're a freak, and refuses to listen to you if you try to get him to fight or leave. It just doesn't, like, Burger Pants is so stubborn, he stays in his job, that's just the way the character is. Part of the other reason that it feels so different, though, again, is because the characters do evacuate. Alphys evacuates the entire underground after you begin your genocide in Snowden. One problem I do have as well that I neglected to mention when I was talking about the things that I felt need improvement, you never encounter Alphys directly. That's fair because she evacuated, but I still think it would have been better had you encountered her directly. There are fan fights of fighting Alphys, and there is a fan fight that also makes Mettaton Neo into a real fight. Both of these things are a nice, substitute to rectify that. Obviously, I understand also another thing is you're basically going from Undyne the Undying to Sans. There's a couple of things in between, obviously. There's some grinding, and there's Muffet and the guards. But really, you're going from Undyne the Undying to Sans. So you're going from the second hardest boss to the hardest boss, so I understand not wanting to put a hard boss in the middle. But I do think that Mettaton Neo could have been better, and I do think some of the fan fights of Mettaton Neo and Alphys Neo, as they call her, are pretty cool as well. And speaking of the boss battles, that's another reason why I think the Genocide route is the best route. Now granted, a lot of the boss battles are actually fairly easy. You kill enemies in one hit. Toriel dies in one hit, Papyrus dies in one hit, both of which are very sad. Then you get to Undyne, and that's where you encounter Undyne the Undying. Now Undyne the Undying is my favorite thing about the Genocide route. Undyne the Undying starts out really atmospheric with you walking around in Waterfall with the creepy music and Monster Kid still tagging along with you. At one point you get to the bridge where you would normally save Monster Kid during the pacifist route. However, this time, Monster Kid actually comes up to you and confronts you about the fact that you've been slaughtering people. At which point he initially doesn't believe it, but then you have to turn on him and attack him. If you spare him, it obviously aborts the Genocide route. But you attack Monster Kid, at which point Undyne jumps in and takes the hit, instantly killing her. This kills Undyne instantaneously, but because Undyne has determination within her, she is able to resurrect herself as Undyne the Undying. Basically, seeing your willingness to kill Monster Kid told her that you were going to wipe out everybody. She realized from the get-go that now you're going to wipe out all of humanity, all of monsters, everything. So she needs to step in and defeat you. At which point the fight starts, she gets a way cool redesign, and it gives you a dialogue box that says, "The heroine appears," letting you know right then and there, she is the hero, you are the villain. This fight was frustrating, I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, but it is not only my favorite fight in the game, but as a spoiler for a future video, It is my favorite boss battle in any video game of all time. This also is what pushed Undyne to actually be my favorite character in Undertale. It was kind of a toss-up between her and Sans, but once I experienced Undyne the Undying, Undyne took the crown. She's definitely my favorite character in it just because of this fight, and because I like her attitude and style throughout the game anyway. But not only that, but this fight has my favorite song in the game. Battle Against a True Hero. And I don't care that I'm gonna get a claim for doing this, most likely, because I have every time I've uploaded anything with it in it. But I'm gonna play some snippets of the song. The song starts out like this. Which is already pretty fucking cool. But then it picks up like this. And then as it goes on, we get to this part. And finally it picks up again, which gets to my absolute favorite part of the song, which is this. Again, this is my favorite song in the entire game. And speaking of the music, 2 of my 3 favorite tracks are exclusive to the Genocide route, that being Battle Against a True Hero, and of course Megalovania, which is the most iconic song in the game. Obviously, Megalovania is not my second favorite song in the game, it's actually my third, my second actually being Hopes and Dreams, which is actually exclusive to the Pacifist route. We'll get a little bit more into Megalovania when I talk about the Sans fight here. So, speaking of the Sans fight, shortly after Undyne the Undying, you fight Muffet, who dies in one hit. You fight Mettaton Neo, who has a cool song called Power of Neo, which is kind of a remix of Battle Against a True Hero, as you can hear here. Again, Mettaton Neo also dies in one hit, and then you progress to Sans. Sans you only fight in the Genocide route. He does not fight you unless he absolutely fucking has to. Sans is actually aware that there are other timelines and that you are going to destroy the timeline. He sees you for what you are, and he's aware that you've reset the world multiple times at this point. That's another thing I really like about the Genocide route, is just how dark it is, that you do a pacifist ending, only to reset and bring them back just to kill them all, and that's actually canon in-game. That is something that is in-universe that you did. The Sans fight is a lot more frustrating than the Undyne fight. It's still really fun. I feel like you have more fun the more you play it. But I will say the Sans fight is almost too frustrating. That's the reason it's not my favorite fight in the game. In fact, it's not even my second or third. I'd say it's my 4th favorite fight in the game. My first obviously being Undyne the Undying, second being Omega Flowey, and third being Asriel Dreamer. Sans is a close 4th. It's still a good fight. It's still very fun, and it definitely is going to give me the biggest sense of satisfaction when I actually fucking beat him. Again, that is yet to happen. I can currently get 8 attacks in on him before I die. That's the maximum I've reached so far. You have to get 24 attacks in on him to actually win. So I can get a third of the way through the battle, I suppose. But Sans, you know, throughout the game, you've seen him as just this kind of goofball that's lazy and tags around with you. Of course, when you get to the scene at the restaurant at the end of the game, you do kind of see a little hint that he is kind of spooky and powerful, because he has that black eye thing where his eyes just completely black out, and he says, "You'd be dead where you stand if I hadn't made that promise." Obviously, in Pacifist, that's the only hint you're gonna get at Sans being this creepy, powerful monster. I don't mean monster in negative light, I mean literally monster, because Sans is obviously a good guy, and he only tries to stop you when he realizes what you're doing is absolutely horrible and that you're going to wipe out the world. There's a few other times where he does the black eye thing, like earlier on in the game when he tells you if you keep going down the route you're going to have a bad time. Or in the neutral ending, if you've killed Papyrus, he'll ask you, "Then why did you kill my brother?" If you get what's called the leaderless ending, which is what you get from doing a no mercy run, he'll tell you to go to hell and say you're not welcome there anymore. And again, it's all accompanied by those creepy blank eyes that he does. But after you finally defeat the Sans fight, which will take most people many, many, many attempts, you encounter Kara, who is a character that is hinted at in the Pacifist ending, but you don't actually encounter until the Genocide ending. Now, Kara is hinted at in the neutral ending as well, but you don't find out really that Kara is the person that you named until you do the true pacifist ending, when you find out that your character's name is actually Frisk and Kara's the one that you named. Kara is basically pure evil. At least that's kind of the vibe you get. You don't really know a whole lot about Kara. And I'm gonna use the pronoun she, because I view Kara as a female character, although she does not have a confirmed gender. But Kara is absolutely terrifying. She is evil. All she wants is to destroy the world, and you've helped her do it. Because she possesses you towards the beginning of the genocide route, and you let her take control. Should you complete the genocide ending, you unleash her on the world if you do a soulless run. Now, the reason the soulless run is called a soulless run is because you literally sell your soul to Kara in order to play the game again, because you literally destroy the world at the end of the game if you complete the genocide route. You also don't really know why Kara is so powerful. She just kind of has this power to just destroy the world in one hit. Again, the less you know, the better, and I do think Toby does a good job at doing less is more with this character. Now, ultimately, I think that this route is the best because, well, frankly, I'm a huge fan of tragedy. I like tragedies. They're very enjoyable. They bring out a very good emotional response because you get really sad. And I think that sadness can be just as important as a happy ending. And it's definitely a different experience than, being the good guy and saving the world, whereas you're the bad guy destroying the world. It's a tragedy, but you're the inhuman monster killing everything. You're the bad guy. And I think that that's probably why I enjoy it so much. It's such an interesting change where you get to be the evil piece of shit that kills literally everyone. I definitely think this route has so much more weight if you do the pacifist route first. Obviously, that's what I did, and obviously that's what most people do and what I recommend people do. Because you really feel the weight of killing all of these characters after you've built up an attachment to them. Once you feel attached to the characters and then you've given them a happy ending only to snatch it away from them, you feel the weight on it. The game guilts you a lot during the genocide route. When you kill Papyrus, he tells you how he still believes in you, despite the fact that you just killed him. The whole thing is just this very sad, melancholy experience that I frankly think is just so much more emotionally impactful than doing the pacifist ending. Don't get me wrong, the pacifist ending is emotionally impactful as all hell too. I teared up during both endings, and the pacifist ending even has some elements of tragedy in it too with Azrael, because, you can't fully save Azrael because he's already dead, and he's already done all this horrible stuff. The best he can do to redeem himself is let everyone else out, which he does. I don't know, the feeling you feel kind of empty when you beat Genocide, and I like that. I think it's a whole dark, different experience. It gives you kind of a horror vibe, a tragedy vibe, and a lot of other things all mixed up into one, where it gives you this mishmash of emotions when you finish it. Not to mention strange satisfaction when you actually defeat Sans and Undyne the Undying because they're fucking difficult. So ultimately, I just think, because of the emotional impact and how dark and different it is, the Genocide route, in my opinion, is the best route in all of UnderTale. Maybe this is a hot take. I think most people probably would think the pacifist run is better. I just think Genocide brings out a lot more of an emotional response in me, and that's why I like it so much more. But anyway, this has been Fugitive Red Eye. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a good one.
You need to be stopped!
Enough with the sauce!